Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Today, I'm going to share with you a wonderful story that carries a powerful lesson. Before we begin, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up to support us. Now, let's get started. It is told that in one of the ancient eras, there was a judge named Zoran. He was renowned for his intelligence, cunning, and wisdom in restoring rights to their owners and warding off injustice from the oppressed. His reputation was cemented after he solved 3 of the most difficult cases he ever faced. Case 1, the loan and the palm tree. It is said that 2 men lived as neighbors. One was kind-hearted, while the other was cunning. The kind neighbor lived beside the other without knowing that his neighbor possessed the traits of deceit and trickery. One day, the malicious neighbor fell on hard times and could not find enough food in his house to satisfy his hunger. He went to the kind neighbor's house to ask for a loan but did not find him. The neighbor's wife told him that her husband had gone to work in the morning and had not yet returned. The malicious neighbor decided to meet him at his workplace. On his way, he saw the kind neighbor returning. He stopped him, explained his distress, and asked to borrow 1,000 dirhams. The kind neighbor did not hesitate to offer a goodly loan. There was a palm tree nearby, so the kind neighbor said, "Tomorrow, God willing, I will arrange the 1,000 dirhams for you, and I will wait for you here beside this palm tree." The next day, the malicious neighbor went to meet him. He found the kind neighbor waiting by the palm tree as promised, holding the money. He gave it to him, and the malicious neighbor said, "I will return this money to you 3 months from now." The kind neighbor agreed without taking any document to prove the debt. 3 months passed, and the kind neighbor went to collect his money. However, the malicious neighbor denied ever receiving the 1,000 dirhams. The kind man was saddened, thinking, "We have reached a time where good is repaid with evil." Hearing of Judge Zoran's wisdom, he went to complain. Judge Zoran summoned the malicious neighbor and asked, "Your neighbor claims he lent you 1,000 dirhams. Is this true?" The malicious neighbor denied it. "No, Your Honor. I took nothing, nor have I ever borrowed money from him. His claim is a lie." The judge asked the kind neighbor, "Do you have a witness or a document?" "No, Your Honor," he replied. "I trusted him and never thought he would deny my right." Sensing the man's honesty, the judge thought for a moment and said, "If you are truthful, go and bring me a handful of soil from the place where you gave him the money." Surprised, the man obeyed and rushed off to the palm tree. Time passed, and the man did not return. The judge began watching the malicious neighbor. Suddenly, he asked him, "Your neighbor is taking a long time. Do you know why he hasn't returned yet?" Without thinking, the malicious neighbor replied, "Because that place is very far away from here." The judge laughed and said, "Now you have proven the truth of his claim. If he were lying and had never lent you money there, you would not know the location he went to." Judge Zoran ordered the malicious neighbor to be imprisoned until he returned the money. Case 2. The Old Man and the Nothing. It is told that an old man rode his donkey to the market to buy a sack of flour. The sack was heavy, so a strong man helped him lift it onto the donkey's back. On the way home, the donkey stumbled, and the sack fell. The old man could not lift it back up. A young man, strong but foolish and annoying, passed by. He asked, "What stops you, old man?" The old man explained, "My sack fell, and I cannot lift it." The young man said, "I can lift it for you, but what will you give me in return?" The old man replied, "Nothing." The young man lifted the sack onto the donkey. As the old man prepared to leave, the young man asked, "Where is what you promised me?" The old man said, "I promised you nothing." The young man insisted rudely, "You are lying. When I asked what you would give me, you said nothing. I want the nothing you promised." The old man was baffled. "My son, when I said nothing, I meant I had nothing to give." "I don't care," said the youth. "I must have the nothing." They went to Judge Zoran. After hearing the story, the judge realized the young man was being absurdly pedantic. He asked the old man, "Did you promise him nothing?" "Yes, Your Honor." He asked the youth, "And you want the nothing he promised?" "Yes, Your Honor." The judge ordered a guard to bring the donkey and the sack into the court. He then challenged the youth, "If you want what he promised, take the sack off the donkey and put it on the ground." The youth did so. "Now," said the judge, "lift the sack from the ground and put it back on the donkey." The youth did so. The judge asked, "What did you find under the sack when you lifted it?" The youth replied, "Nothing." The judge laughed and said, "Then take it. That is what the old man promised you." Thus, the judge gave the foolish youth a taste of his own medicine. Case 3. The inheritance of the three Zaids. It is told that a man had 3 sons, all named Zaid. Before he died, he wrote a will stating, "Zaid inherits, and Zaid does not inherit." When the sons read this, they were confused. Who was the Zaid who would not inherit? They realized their father intended to deprive one of them, but they didn't know which one. They went to Judge Zoran. The judge read the will and was puzzled. He suspected that one of the sons might not be the man's biological son, but he needed proof. He ordered the sons to leave the room and enter one by one. When the first Zaid entered, the judge said, "We have found no solution but to exhume your father's body to match his fingerprints, as the will might be forged. Do you agree?" Zaid cried out in anger, "No, Your Honor, I do not agree. I cannot bear to see my father humiliated after his death, regardless of the cost. I renounce my share of the inheritance to my brothers." The judge told him to wait outside. The second Zaid entered. The judge repeated the proposal to exhume the body. The second Zaid also refused, saying, "I do not want the inheritance if it means this," and offered to renounce his share. The judge told him to wait outside. The third Zaid entered. The judge repeated the proposal. This Zaid replied, "If you must take my father out of his grave, there is no problem. The living are more important than the dead." The judge immediately knew this was the Zaid mentioned in the will. If he were the true son, he would never have agreed to disturb his father's grave for the sake of money. Thus, Judge Zoran identified the son who was not to inherit. After these events, Judge Zoran became famous for his intellect and insight. Everyone learned that a wise judge can distinguish between the oppressor and the oppressed, and that rights will eventually return to their owners. In the end, write to us in the comments. Which of these cases did you like the most?